Okay, good morning, everybody. Gonna release a video really early today because we've played out the plan, and like I said, the markets are closed a half day today. Okay, so if you need a plan from Friday or a plan on what the charts look like, please reference Friday. I don't want to just release the same thing again. It's just a waste of time. Instead, I want to talk to you about how to manipulate a squeeze and how to play it delusion free by capturing as much upside as possible, by minimizing your risk, maximizing your reward, talking about leverage, so on and so forth. I do want to do some record keeping though. This weekend I polled you guys and I asked you, do you think that I am doing good enough in my communication? Right. So the way I did that, I mean, that was the core of the question. The actual question was, do you think that I gave you good entries, exits, stops? I maintained a coherent narrative on how to play each ticker. Uh, as far as being a high time frame person and a low time frame person, a trade versus an investor, and what to do. And the reason I did that is because I've been getting some junk online from people who have said things that are like it's negative, right? And I don't really question myself and my ability to chart and do what I'm doing. But since I am kind of like minorly dyslexic and have I don't know. I'm not fully on the spectrum, but I probably have like a nick of the Asperger's. It's like when people question my communication skills, I tend to listen. That being said, it was slightly heartening to hear that I have been explaining myself well. That is something that I have issues with, but also I reflect on it after a while and realize, I'm completely fucking self-made way before this Substack ever happened, and not from working, from trading, you know. And once I started this, I've brought people along and had them show success for multiple years at this point. So sometimes I just need to realize that people are cunty online and to stop being a whiny bitch about it. So I apologize, but I did take it to heart because I do want to know if my communication is in question, and that's about it on that. So we don't have to go to it again, but I am always open to suggestions on how to improve and that. So yeah. Anyway, enough with that negativity. Let's look at the chart on ES and talk about what to do. Um, this was our target. This was our cup and handle that we set up to achieve that target. And now we are in between two scenarios. One, where we whip down and we test our higher low, and two, where we just go directly higher. Whenever we hit a crux in the road, what we do is we deleverage, and that's what we did now. So there's going to be unhappy people on either side of this trade. There's going to be unhappy people because I suggested you go into a runner and it keeps going, and there's going to be unhappy people if they are max leveraged out, uh, and we actually do get that back test. So what I posit to you is that in ES, it's actually better. You don't want to capture it like spy calls. You just want to capture like moves, right? So the best way to capture this next move is to stay into a runner. If we go into the more degenerate scenario, you will look for a higher low around here. Okay? And we will start squeezing for real. This is not a squeeze. This is just a cute move up out the top of a cup and handle. A squeeze is an expansion candle. Let's see if we can find one on our chart to show you the difference. Oh, look at this, a breakaway gap right there. Guys, this is going to send it. But a squeeze candle is like what happened out of these lows right here. You see these giant yellow candles I have highlighted on my chart? These are squeeze candles. They break structure. What we've done now is not a squeeze. What we've done now is foreplay. Okay? So, to reintroduce the concepts that I'm talking about. Will this happen for sure? It does not need to happen in a straight line. I am convinced that we go up, but it doesn't mean it needs to happen in a straight line, so I deleverage. I minimize risk and maximize reward for a particular move. Now, let's say, since I already told you what the more bearish quote unquote thing is, which means we back test our breakout right here on this blue box, this is the flag that we broke out of, the most recent flag. If we back test this breakout, basically filling the gap, the breakaway gap, then we can start to look at releveraging, or the more fun situation that will catch people completely off guard is if we pop here, you're only in a runner, so you're grumbling the whole time. But we make it through 617, we make it all the way up to about 6,700, and we knife down for a higher low and hold it. If that happens, we will absolutely rip face, okay? And you need to be aware of that. That's your opportunity to reload. It is going to be very, very quick, relatively. And the pullback will look shallow. This is what our lockout rally means. Somebody asked me about this before, and then they said, can retail participate? Of course. When I say lockout, I don't mean that retail. Retail, we're trading so small, guys. We have a couple ES contracts, you know. When I say lockout, I mean you can't chase at an institutional level when they're trading tens of thousands of them, right? So that's a whole different thing. But anyway, the target here is about 8,400, not in a straight line, but in a straight sort of trajectory. And I just don't know what this initial bit looks like, okay? So the question is, if I don't know how that looks like, how do we start to play it? I am going to lean into the swings. First, Bitcoin. We bought leverage right here. We're happy, right? Does Bitcoin suck? No, it's bottoming out versus ES. I keep showing you this. But it's finding its higher low. It's taking forever, but it will happen. Here's our swing low on our ratio. Here's the higher low it's trying to find. Eventually this will go. And what does that mean? That means all the strength that you see in ES, and this is hypothetical. I'm just working on this, guys. I'll get there later, so don't worry about that yet. All the strength that you see in ES, in all this move that I'm talking about, will be reflected in Bitcoin, but stronger so. This is reflected in the ratio. It looks stupid now, but I promise you, that's exactly what the chart's telling us. So, I don't want to short ES. Like I said, I'm going to lean into the individual tickers. I don't want to short ES until I see Riot clear the 30s. I think that will happen. I don't want to short ES until I see that. I don't want to short ES until I see AMD hit its next target around 600, 590s area. I believe coin, we should be heading up towards 280. Now remember, this isn't going to happen until ES squeezes, then coming down for a higher low and then moving up again. I don't want to short ES until that happens. I don't want to see the shorts start coming up until Oxy at least hits its bear target at 49. This one's a tricky one for me. Maybe not for you. I know some people entered the shorts already, but I missed my short entry. My short entry was 62, and it only came up to 61.24. So this one could leave the station without me, but the fact remains the same. I'm going to use the chart. So until this hits its target, its first target, I don't want to entertain the idea of shorts. Meta, I want to see it hit around 800, and again, this isn't a straight line thing, right? I'm saying like here. This is just generalized structure, but the idea behind it is consistent, and the idea behind it is I don't want to short or start looking short on ES for a high time frame backtest. High time frame backtest means 500, 600, 700 points down, not like 30 points or whatever, until we start hitting our targets. News target is about 260. So we shouldn't be looking really short until we see that. Netflix, we expect a relief bounce all the way up to 96. We're only at 88, but that doesn't seem like much, but Netflix is clearly bear flagging, so it's not really going that fast either. Okay, so you're kind of getting what I'm putting down here. MVAX recent entry, I want to see that hit around 50 from $10. So what I'm laying down here is I think we have a lot of room, okay? A lot of room to the upside, and I think that a lot of room is represented by this leg right here. Okay, and to position for this leg right now, we should do exactly what I was talking about. We should be small sized, and if they do the more degenerate of the two, they come up here and we find our higher low, then we can start looking for another candle. Until then, you really need to de-risk during this section of the trade, because this is the uncertainty. Whether we get this or whether we get a gap fill reload is where we have to sideline and be happy with the trades that we've taken, and realize what we can see to reload comfortably without exposing us to excessive risk. Nobody's going to be able to tell you the future on this, guys. I can tell you if it starts going where it's going. I can tell you if it starts pulling back where it's going to go and how to play a reclaim to make the same move. I can tell you on the high time frame, we're almost certainly going to 8,400, but you got to be careful in this section of the chart when you're right on the crux between two separate moves. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to write some of these swing targets up in the plan, so if you're actually in these swings, you know what to look for. As well as how I'm scaling in and out of them. I think that's important. Never hold everything for all moves. Like for instance, if you're in SPY calls, you would not be holding for this entire move. You would be selling them, right? You'd be selling them on the way up to the point where if you got to where we think that the high is, you'd be into runners by that, right? So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. We are going to send this out very early so people can play. So people can not chase leverage in a crazy way. And so if we do get the more degenerate move, people are not caught off guard and they understand how to reload. Take care, guys. Have a great day. I'll be around in the room after I go for a run.